Hello everyone, it's Carrie from Inky Bee Journals and Ephemera. Welcome to my channel. This is a new channel and this is the first video for this channel. I am new to being a YouTube content creator, so please bear with me if I seem a little bit awkward. About 5 years ago, I decided to get into paper crafting, and I particularly wanted to learn how to make notebooks and books that can be used for junk journaling, and I wanted to get into learning how to make ephemera and embellishments to go along with it. So like many people, I came to YouTube to watch videos and I joined Facebook groups, and I quickly began to realize that I was feeling overwhelmed with all of the new information coming to me, and people were using terms I didn't understand, and I started thinking to myself, what is this? What does that mean? And because I didn't know, I felt I needed to ask questions. But I was also feeling a little bit nervous about asking questions around people who knew what they were talking about. So 5 years later, I have learned most of the things that I was unfamiliar with then. But I have noticed on the Facebook groups that I am in that there is still a lot of beginners out there who were in the same shoes that I was in 5 years ago, and you may be one of those people. I just want to express to those of you who are beginners, please don't feel nervous about asking questions. When we are learning something new, it is normal to ask questions. When you don't understand things, it's normal to not understand everything straight away, and it's perfectly normal to want to ask those questions. You shouldn't feel nervous about it at all, so please don't ever feel that you can't ask those questions when you're on this channel, because we are here to help make that journey for you a little bit easier. So if you do have any questions, please feel free to put those questions in the comments section below, and I will do my best to answer those questions for you. And if I don't have the answers, I'll do my best to try and find those answers for you and get back to you on those. This channel will have beginner-friendly tutorials, and I will do craft alongs, I will do scrap busters, trash busters and stash busters, and I will also do craft buy shares. So if I've bought something that is some form of craft supply, I will share those with you. If I get enough questions, or I'm noticing beginners asking enough of the same sort of questions, I may make a Q&A video. So with that said, I would like to start off the tutorials with a beginner-friendly tutorial on how to make one of these simple notebooks. Now, this is one of the easiest ways to make a notebook. Really all it is a one signature notebook. It has one signature, one cover and 2 staples, and that's all. So all you will need is 5 or 6 sheets of standard copier or printer paper, Now I'm using white. It doesn't matter what colour you use. There is a rainbow of colours out there that you might choose to use, and that really is up to you what colour you choose. I'm using standard size printer paper. Now my standard size is A4 because that's what standard size is in my country of Australia. If your standard size in your country is different, that is okay too. How we make this book, how we put it together, doesn't matter what size your paper is. So you need 5 or 6 pieces of your printer paper. You will also need 1 sheet of scrapbook paper, and the size of that needs to be at least the size of your printer paper or a little bit bigger. As you can see, this is bigger, but I think this sheet is 30 centimetres by 30 centimetres. It came from a scrapbook pad. It is plain on the other side. You may get some scrapbook paper that is patterned on both sides. So the other things we will need is a stapler. Now if you have a stapler like this, you might find it a little bit difficult to use in this regular fashion for the size book that we're making. However, if your stapler is capable of opening up like this so that you can turn it over, place it down and stamp it down, then you should still be able to do this project. If you are lucky enough to, you may have a stapler like this, and you can purchase these online, and you may even find it in a stationery store. This is called a long arm stapler. Now they call it a long arm because it has this extra length here, and if I turn it to the side you can see it's got this extra long piece in here. Now if I demonstrate the other stapler, you will see if we try to use it in this fashion, we only have this short space here to use. And when we need to open up our book and we need to slide it in here, you can see that we can't reach the spine area. And that is where opening your stapler might help, because when this is open like this, you can then stamp it down like this. However, please be aware that some staplers like this, some are able to be opened up and some are not designed to open up, so consider that. If you do have a stapler like this, or you can get a stapler like this, you will find that having this extra long space here will be easier for you to place your book in so that you can reach your spine area. And in fact, if this book was much larger, I could go in a lot further, which is where a long arm stapler is handy. They come with this movable bar so that you are able to adjust how far back you allow your item to go. And it has a little dial on the side here that you can screw tight and unscrew so that you can move it around should you need to. Other things you will need is a ruler. Now I use a metal ruler because when I'm using a blade and running down the side of the metal ruler, I'm less likely to damage a metal ruler. If you're using a plastic ruler, you might find that it will damage a bit easier. You might find even a wooden ruler may possibly damage a bit easier as well. So that's why I tend to use a metal ruler. You will also need some kind of cutting tool. Now, many people use a pair of scissors, and you could absolutely use a pair of those if you have them. Or you could use some kind of craft knife. Now, this is the craft knife that I will be using. This is my finger blade, and you will see me use that shortly. You may have a Stanley knife that looks similar to this, where the blade slides in and out like that. You may have a Stanley knife that looks similar to this, and again this slides in and out with the blade. You may know these types of blades as box cutters. And then you have this type of a craft knife. You may have seen similar knives to this, craft knives to this, in other tutorials, and you may have heard them being called an X-Acto knife, which is another common term for them. And you could use one of those, you could use any one of these types of craft knives. Any of these knives will actually work for this project. Another thing you might want to use is a pencil for marking, and some type of paper clip. Now, I'm going to use these sort of medium-sized paper clips that I have. You could use one of these type of paper clips that open like this, and these metal bits clip together like that. So that would work. If you have clips that look like this, or mini size ones that look like this, they would work. If you are a sewer, you might have fabric clips like these, and they would work as well. You may have mini pegs like these ones. These are just like the pegs that you hang your clothes with, and they work well as well. You may also see some crafters using extra large jumbo size paper clips. So if you have those, they could work as well. It doesn't really matter what type of clip you use, as long as it's something that holds your pages together. So we'll start with our pages, our copier pages, and we have 5 or 6 here, and all we need to do is fold them in half. So we will fold them individually, and we'll just fold them over so that one short side meets the other short side. And try and line them up evenly at the end, at the top and at the bottom. Run your finger to the other side and crease it down, and then just use your fingers to crease each piece like that, and then move on to the rest and fold them all the same way. Now, of course, you can fold yours a bit differently. it needs to be folded the same way basically, but you don't have to go this way like I'm doing. You can go this way and fold them like that, same way. So how you do it might depend on whether you're left or right-handed. And if you are more comfortable with folding them this way, you can do it this way as well. And then fold them like this. Whichever way you do it whichever way you are comfortable doing it. It doesn't matter. The aim is just to fold them all in half the same way. And the last piece. And now we have all 6 pieces folded. Now that we have all of these folded, the next thing we can do is turn these into a signature. And it's really very easy. If you don't know what a signature is, basically a signature is a group of pages put together, and then those pages go inside a cover. When those pages are put together, it is called a signature. And you might have a book that has one signature, like the notebook that we're making today. Or you might have a book that has multiple signatures. How many signatures you have is up to you. Now, to make these 6 pages into a signature, we'll do 1 page at a time. We can cup our hand as though we're holding a taco, and we can place 1 page in our hand with the folded edge downwards, and we open that page up like that. Then we get the next page, and where the folded edge is, we place it down in the crease of the page before it, and we open that up as well. Then we get the next page, and we do the same thing, and we open that up. And the next page, we do the same thing, placing the folded edge in the crease of the one before it. And then we open it up. Once again, we get the folded edge, we place it in the crease of the one before it, and we open it up. And we do that with all of our pages. And then we give them all a little bit of a press down in the center to make sure that all of those creases are pressed together nicely. And then we close it, and we give it a bit of a tap to make sure that everything's nicely aligned at the top and the bottom. Now you might notice that there's a little bit of fanning on one side of the pages, and this is normal. This is what happens when you stack your pages together, because the pages before each page that you put in is pushing the next page forward that tiny little bit, and this is what creates this fanning look, and that is perfectly normal. Some people are not bothered by that, and they will leave that the way it is. Others may find this annoying, and so we can fix that, and I will show you how to do that in a moment. So now that we've got our, this is our signature now. So now that we've got our signature together, we can just clamp that together like that and sit it aside. And then we can get our piece of scrapbook paper. Now your scrapbook paper needs to be, as I said, at least the size of your printer paper, or it can be bigger. because as you can see, this is going to be bigger than the size of our paper. So what we can do is we can cut this down. Now what I do is I take the top edge of the signature and the side of the signature, and I line them up with the top and the side of the scrapbook paper. And I use my pencil and I mark at the bottom of the signature on the paper here. Now this might be pretty hard for you to see because of the colour, but I have actually got a line just here, and all of this extra underneath doesn't need to be used, but we won't throw the bottom out when we cut it off because it will be big enough for us to use in another project. So the next thing we can do is line that line up with the line on my grid mat. And this grid mat, if you don't know about them, this is a self-healing mat, and it's really good for cutting on. They're a little bit more durable than just the old plastic type ones, hard plastic, because they heal themselves a little bit better. They last a little bit longer. So just line your line up with one of the lines on your grid mat and try and get your paper as straight on your grid mat as you can. Then using your ruler, place your ruler down so that the line is to the side of your ruler and level with the line on your grid mat. And try to make sure that your ruler is level with the line at the bottom of your page on your grid mat. And then you can draw yourself a line all the way down. And then you can get your scissors and you can cut along that line. Or you can get your craft knife and you can put some pressure down on your ruler. Place your craft knife at the edge of your paper and carefully run your craft knife all the way down the edge of your paper. Now you may just do it nice and slowly so you don't slip. You may need to do this a few times to get through your paper. But just go nice and slowly and steadily so that you don't slip and potentially hurt yourself. And there we go. So here is our scrap, and this can be used for another project. Now this is what we have left, and this will become our cover. So fold this over, flip it over so that the back side of your paper is facing up. And just like we did with our pages before, we'll fold it over in half and line the two short sides up. As evenly as we can. And it doesn't matter if they're not 100% perfect, because we can neaten it up at the end. So just like we did with our pages, run your finger to the folded side, press it down, and just use your finger to crease along the spine area. And because this paper is a little bit thicker than our printer paper, you might want to run over it a few times with your finger. And then we can take the clip off our signature. We can open our cover, and just like we did when we put these pages together, we want to put the folded edge inside the crease of the cover, and then we can give everything a tap, usually at the top, because sometimes the bottom can be slightly longer, so that everything is flush at the top here. Now things might still be protruding a little bit on the left side here, sorry, down the right hand side here, and we can fix that up in a moment. And you might find that things on the bottom are not necessarily as flush, but that's okay. Again, we can fix this. So to fix up down the side, now I'm just going to use this clamp again to hold this together. So we can fix up down the side by putting our ruler down and cutting this edge so that it's all flushed down the side. So using your grid mat, place it down as evenly as you can, as straight as you can, sorry. Place your ruler down, and I would bring it in about 1/8 of an inch or so from the edge, just to be sure that you've got all those little edges. And just like we did before, we press down on the ruler, we get our craft knife, and we just slowly run the craft knife along the edge of the ruler. You will need to make several passes of your craft knife to do this, to get through all of your pages. But please do go slowly and steadily, and don't rush, because we don't want you to run the risk of cutting your fingers if you slip. So we can get rid of these little scraps, because these little scraps, they're really not much good for making other things with. If you are someone who keeps these little scraps for making recycled paper, then you can keep these scraps. Otherwise, the best thing to do is put them in your recycle bin. So now we've neatened up down that side. Now we can do the same at the bottom to level that out as well. Once again, you will need to do a number of passes. Just go slowly with a bit of pressure, keeping a bit of an angle until you get through all your layers of paper. Holding your ruler down firmly. And now we've leveled out the bottom as well. Now there's just one more step that we need to do, and that is to put the staples in our spine. So to put the staples in our spine, first we need to clamp our pages so that they don't go slipping everywhere. So get your choice of clip and just clip your pages together with your cover, and it's up to you how many you feel you need to use. I usually use about 3 on each side. And then we flip it over, and then you can take a pen and you can work out where you want to put your staples. Now, I like to put my staples in about 1.5 inches in from the top and from the bottom. So I'm just going to make a little mark with my pen right on the top of the spine, roughly where I want to put those staples. And then the next thing we need to do is put the staples in. Now I will be using this stapler today because my other stapler is a cranky old thing. So using the long arm stapler gives me the ability to put this in as far as I need to go. So where your staples come out, line that up with your spine area. And please make sure that you're putting your book in the right way, which is this way, from the side of your book into the center. Don't put it in from the top or the bottom, because if you staple that way and your spine is running this way, your staple is going to go across like this, and that means you won't be able to fold your book. So you need to make sure you're putting it in this way. And line up roughly where you're as close to where your line is, as close to that spine crease as you can get, and staple down. Then turn your book around and repeat that process for the second staple. Line it up with your spine as close to where your line is, and staple down. Now that you've done that, you can fold it back over, give it a bit of a crease down with your hand. You can take all of your clips off. And there is your simple little notebook. You've completed it. So you can now use this for whatever you like. And if you want to, you can decorate the inside and the center here. If you're a little bit concerned about, let me find the center. If you're a little bit concerned about these staples being potentially snagging something that you put in your book, you can always cover those up with a bit of washi tape or something like that, just to protect yourself and them from snagging other things. So I hope you give this simple project a go. It's a great way to get yourself used to making simple little notebooks, and in time your skills can grow so that you can make other types of notebooks and other types of journal, junk journal style books. So that's the tutorial for today. I hope you were able to learn something. I hope it was easy for you to follow. And I will be back with another tutorial or another video, hopefully in the next few days. So until then, thank you for joining me. If you think you might be interested in following this channel, please hit that subscribe button and tap that notification bell, and hopefully YouTube sends you a notification when there's some new content uploaded to this channel. And I will see you next time. Bye.